strengthen the accessibility for New Zealanders bill. I'm just going to read out the prayer, the petition prayer, and then welcome you all, and then we'll commence with our 10 minutes. So the petition prayer today, that the House of Representatives urge the government to strengthen the accessibility for New Zealanders bill to include standards, a regulator, a barrier notification system, and a disputes resolution process to remove access barriers, and note that 14,751 people have signed an online petition in support of this. We are in public hearing for 10 minutes to hear the oral evidence, and I see that we have 3 members here, Juliana, Rebekah and Amy. If you'd like to introduce yourselves, ngā mihi nui kia koutou. Welcome the 3 of you to the Select Committee. It's awesome to have you here on our last Select Committee, and we are in your hands for 10 minutes. If you'd like to leave some time for questions, I can give you a 5-minute, or I can give you a 7-minute to let you know, and then we'll move to questions. Thank you so much and welcome.
Kia ora, my name's Amy Hogan. I am co-chair of Access Matters Aotearoa. And we are here today, firstly, to thank you for making this an accessible forum so we can best make use of this time. And we're here to reinforce this position that you adequately and articulately pointed out around what we need from the bill and what we need to make it fit for purpose. And we take the offer from the Right Honourable Minister for Disabilities to pause the process as a victory for us to make it fit for purpose. And my colleagues are going to share precisely what our feelings are around and the aspects to which we want to make this align with both national and international conventions. I'll hand over to my colleagues.
Thanks, Amy. My name's Rebekah Graham. I am the co-chair with Amy for Access Matters Aotearoa. I also work for Parents of Vision Impaired and chair the Parent Whānau Network with the Office for Disability Issues, now Whaikaha, which is a long-winded way of saying the Parent Whānau voice as well. Appreciate the listening of the committee to what disabled people are saying, particularly the initial promise, which was to take appropriate measures to put minimum accessibility standards in place for public and for private sectors. And of course, we are behind other countries who have signed the UNCRPD in this regard, and we appreciate the committee has listened to what the disability community has said in this regard. We still are disappointed that it has taken us this much effort to be heard when we were so clear at the start with the Access Alliance about what we wanted, and what we are looking for is really a commitment to doing it right, to doing it well, and to doing exactly what our petition says. Juliana, I'll hand it over to you.
Good morning, thanks Rebekah. So my name is Juliana Carvalho, and I'm the lead Access Matters campaigner. So it was quite clear in the MSD departmental report, and they stated that improving accessibility is inextricably linked to the achievement of human rights for disabled people. So there's no way to fulfill disability, the rights of people with disabilities, without accessibility. And MSD, unfortunately, do not create the conditions to really make the minimum standards a reality. Sadly, what that means is that disabled people will continue to not enjoy the same rights as non-disabled. And until this parliament passes a strong accessibility legislation that removes the barriers that prevent us from achieving our potential. So for Access Matters, a bill that is fit for purpose means an accessibility legislation that translates to the translates the New Zealand government obligations under the UNCRPD, and particularly the Article 9, into domestic legislation. If we always do what you always done, you will continue to get the same results. And disabled people will continue to battle one barrier at a time. You heard hundreds of disabled people's stories during the hearings and why we need this strong accessibility law. People with disability continue to seek justice through the Human Rights Commission, but this time-consuming process doesn't create systemic change. And we bear the burden of a broken system. We need a system that proactively builds accessibility and makes it easy for people to report and remove barriers. So the journey towards an inclusive Aotearoa needs to start now. We need to stop creating barriers using public money. Back to you, Amy.
Amy or me?
To Amy, sorry.
So we have done the work to produce a example bill which embodied all the aspects of disability and all the aspects of what we need from accessibility, including the 3 principles we talked about earlier around a barrier notification system, enforcement, and regulation. And so we have produced the labor around doing that. Back to you, Rebekah.
Yeah. Essentially, that's it, because we want to leave as much time for questions as we possibly can.
Great, thank you. Any final comments, Juliana, before we kick across as well? You're on mute.
What a classic, right?
Yeah.
I just will add that, so this draft example accessibility bill was based on the report Making New Zealand Accessible, a design for effective accessibility legislation. And it just shows that how this could be done. This is just a starting point, this is just a draft. That could be this starting point for discussion with MPs and disabled people about co-designing the future accessibility system. So, and this is about upholding the very essence of human rights and fundamental freedoms, And finally, we will continue campaigning until we get the law that people with disabilities need and deserve.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to move now to questions. Do we have questions from the table? Jan Logie, and then a comment. Okay, so we'll go with Jan, and then Louise, and then Teresa.
Thank you for your submission and all the work that you've been doing. I just wonder if you want to give us a little bit of a longer timeline around the work that Access Matters and the community has been doing to try and get this legislation and into a state where it's fit for purpose. And because I think that helps give us a sense of what we're up against.
Sure. So I was part of the Access Alliance, which was 3 years of work to get the draft bill as it currently stands, and that was sort of pushed through to Parliament 12 months ago. So that is years and years and years, and the disability community has been we've been very consistent in what we have asked for, and that was ignored. And the Access Alliance at the time said, we're not happy with this bill, and the advice from officials was, well, this is what we can get across the line because other ministry departments won't support a bill that has teeth and that has regulatory mechanisms and that has reporting structure and all those things. So that was incredibly disappointing, because the message was that businesses and private businesses were like, yeah, great, fantastic. It means more people can access our products so we can sell more, like fully embraced it, no issues. it was the government departments. I think education was a big one that really struggled with it. But that is just hearsay, so that may be entirely incorrect. I may not be remembering that correctly. But I think it's really important that this is government who had the opportunity to do it really well, didn't. And it's our community that's now spent 4 years at a minimum campaigning, working, telling our stories, sharing our pain, reliving that trauma, because they wanted an easy win, not the right one.
I would add, Rebekah, that the conversations about it has been way before Access Alliance and way before Access Matters, disabled people, advocates have been calling for, the same rights as our non-disabled peers for many, many, many years. I joined the Access Matters campaign back in 2017. So it's been many, many years, and we've done everything that we could. We tried all these strategies. We're doing all that we can to make, it is just so obvious, that we need to change. And it's just so obvious that we are so behind other countries. Look, I'm from Brazil. In Brazil, we have accessibility legislation since the year 2000. How New Zealand is behind Brazil, how New Zealand is behind all the other countries. We were a leading country when the UNCRPD was being developed. What happened that we cannot translate that? Our international obligations, it's about integrity. Integrity is you say what you will do and you do it. So the government when signed the convention, it said that it will make minimal standards a reality. We need to stop creating barriers with public funds. And we need to stop now.
Thank you. We're nearly out of time. So if we could move quickly to Louise and then to Teresa, and then I'm sorry that your time has.
I just really wanted to say thank you very much for your work. Your submission on your petition is very clear, and I can understand the frustration when you've worked so hard for many years. So thank you for what you have been doing.
And yeah, kia ora koutou. Just to reiterate that, really what Louise said, and having worked in the disability sector for a long time, I know your names, I know how long you've been pushing for this. I really liked what you said, Juliana, around, and I think that's the key, right, is that co-design, and I think, and I know you talked about it to Rebekah and obviously to Amy, that's the crux of it, right? So it's that co-design. And you talked about with the government departments, Rebekah, I wonder too if there's maybe some education in that for other people as well in terms of the government departments understanding what co-design really means. So I just want to say thank you as well. Well done, guys.
Thank you. And we want to thank you all as well, because we understand that this committee really listened to what we were saying, bringing the report. We could see that you asked the right questions to MSD officials. You asked what we would look like to have the bill that people are wanting. But was MSD officials, they always, go back to, no, we need an enabling model, it's too hard, putting this into the hard basket. So our thank you for listening.
And thank you, all three of you, for coming today and for the petition and for my balloon art that you gave me when the petition was handed over to us. Look, we really do want to thank you for what you have to say, and also on behalf of your community, which is our community. Hey, so thank you for your time today, and you are the last public hearing that we will have in the 53rd Parliament, and I think a good final hearing. So thank you for your time today. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou. That brings the public hearing to an end. So we will now be moving into private hearing. Ka kite.